Good morning, guys. This is Jeannie Foy, the African Superstar. I'm here on location here in Tanzania, East Africa, Zanzibar. Beautiful seaside resort area. And I just wanted to share a thought that I was having this morning. And that thought is it's time for Black people to start enjoying their lives. And what I want to talk about is, the pressures that we deal with growing up outside of our indigenous environment here in Africa. A lot of Blacks try to negate that we come from Africa. Let me take a moment and show you guys the clear blue waters of the ocean. This is literally paradise. I like coming out here in the morning when it's really quiet and you can just really have time to think. There's some local people. Good morning. But pretty much the way that we live every day in the West is not healthy for us. It's really stressful for us. It's difficult for us to matriculate and build relationships and have things that are just very fundamental in everyday life. And we are told and we are encouraged to continue to pursue things even though they're not working. I just, was having so many thoughts this morning when I woke up, and I just kept thinking back to how nearly every person that I meet here asks me why I'm alone, where's my family, where's my husband, things that are quite routine here, but quite complex overseas. And I wonder, why is it exactly that we as Black people feel and believe that we should live like that? Why do we think that we don't deserve to have a well-rounded life? Why do we feel that we have to be independent all the time? Why do we feel that we have to fight, to cover ground? Every time I come to Africa, I see just how people live in a less stressful environment. They live in communities. They have emotional support, and even if times are hard in some way, shape, or form, they manage to prevail with that support of family and friends and community. I want to encourage young Black people to make that choice in their life that they don't want to live that way, that they will be bold enough to pursue alternative lifestyles. I realized when I made just such a simple move to England, for instance, I've been there almost 2 years, coming up over this summer. I saw the change in my life from just that simple move. Simple things such as, less stressful environment, less racism, more time to travel, better income, easier public transportation, so I don't have to worry about a car and the expense of a car. These kind of things just alleviated stress off of my life. And I do realize that when you're in America and you haven't had an opportunity to see anything other than the life that you're living, for instance, that seems normal to you. Being in a struggle seems normal to you. And actually the way that you learn about your people and the history of your people perpetuates their struggle, their actual struggle in America, for instance. It's become aware to me. I mean, I knew, but every time I travel, it just becomes more and more poignant to me that, Black people here in Africa, they don't relate to that particular struggle of, the slave trade and the civil rights and, racism and discrimination and police brutality and, just being disregarded and just not being cared for. They don't deal with that particular struggle. Their struggles are a bit different. Maybe in some situations they may struggle for survival. But I mean, a lot of Africans are managing. They're hustling. They're getting out here, creating businesses and doing what they can. They do deal with issues with their government, not moving the countries forward, not investing in infrastructure and these type of things. But it's a different type of stress. You know, it's not like a imminent danger, life-threatening, you're going to be killed type of thing. For blacks in the West, being killed in the line of living their everyday lives is common. You know, when we see in the news that, oh, somebody got killed during a police check or somebody got gunned down, you know, pretty much while minding their own business, just fill in the blank, barbecuing, shopping, out, mistaken identity. Sometimes people call the police for help and the police, you know, mistake them as a culprit and kill them. You know, these are the kind of things that are mentally binding. I understand everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to get it. A lot of blacks, the chains on their mind is just so big. And those of us that try to expose them, what we do is just not deep enough. Like, it's just not big enough. But there's some of you out there that this seems wrong to you. You know, it seemed wrong to me. Something seemed off. You know, when people just kept, you know, when I would voice my emotional discontentment and people would tell me that it was natural. People would say, no, you know, just keep fighting. Just keep prevailing. And I'm thinking like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. You know, I've followed this blueprint that was provided. You know, I went to school, got the education. I've always worked a job. I never got, you know, arrested or went to jail or did drugs or was into violence. You know, the things that we know lead into a very difficult lifestyle potentially. And then I would see, you know, because I did go to private schools with white people, so I would see them and we're in the same path. You know, we're doing the same things, yet they're getting different outcomes. And I realized, you know what, they're in an environment that favors them. They're in an environment that is always going to preserve them. You know, they're in an environment that creates opportunities for them. How many of you black people have seen whites come out of nowhere in America and get job positions, get by in classes when they were failing, you know, cry their way out from the police? You know, we've all seen it as black people in the West. We've seen them finagle their way and maneuver their way through this and that and the other. We have that same liberty here in Africa. You know, the ties have been severed. So yeah, it may not be an effortless, you know, transition. We're going to deal with some things. You know, some people will see us as Westerners, because of the way we talk, the way we think, the way we dress. But in large part, there is a community that's available here for us to tap into in Africa that can provide a lot of those emotional bonds and ties that we are really looking forward to. And big shout outs to Amin Rav. He sees this video. I remember he had a post a few months ago, and it was really profound to me. And he was showing a post of his son, and he was saying that he never has to have the racial talk with his son. He never has to tell his son about the police and, you know, how he can be killed and the type of racism that he would have been facing in America had he been born there, because his son is a Kenyan. You know, Amin Ra migrated to Kenya. For those of you that don't know, he lives in Mombasa. And he made his life there. You know, I believe he's been there over 20 years now. So he has two sons. They're born and raised in Africa. And, you know, he's been able to avoid having them in that very dangerous environment. And I just had that thought this morning of why don't we believe that we should be happy, and why don't we pursue that? And why don't we start? You know, if you're in a position and you don't know where to start, why don't you start by looking outside of the current environment you're in? I'm telling you definitively, you see that I travel. You know, if anybody's new to these videos, you can check my YouTube channel. I've been around the world. You know, I go around Africa. I've been to Egypt, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and I'm currently in Tanzania on holidays. I've seen that potential out here. You know, I've seen it. Like, I you know, yesterday I had a meeting with Maasai people. I actually found some actual Maasai warriors on my resort. They do security for the island. So a lot of resorts here in Zanzibar have actual Maasai people. They go to Serengeti and they, you know, extend themselves and ask them if the Maasai would come and protect their properties, and they pay them, some money. So I ran into one, and he spoke English, and we had a good conversation. And, he was asking me, of course, where's your husband? Where's your children? We're about the same age. I'm about a little bit older than him. And he told me he's got 4 children and a wife back in Arusha, which is their territory. They actually have like designated land. They live off the land. They still hunt. They do all, like how we would think of tribes, ancient tribes and stuff. That's how they live. And, I thought to myself, like, with all the modern conveniences, we still can't do what people that we would see as, people that aren't as educated and sophisticated and worldly and things like that. We still can't manage to do it. Even with our modern technology, we can't figure it out. I have a lot of single girlfriends that have tried to, move beyond that. They want to have families. They want to settle down. They don't like being on their own. They want a lover. They want a companion. It's so complicated. As soon as you get on the continent, everybody is expecting that of you. All of your brothers and sisters here in Africa, they're expecting that of you, especially because you're beautiful and smart and, whatever. It's really, really interesting. And of course, the Maasai, he invited me to Arusha. He told me to come to Serengeti, come and see the people. We welcome you to come to our land. And it's just beautiful. How can you be in a place maybe you've never been and feel so connected to people and be welcomed and be embraced by people, and then you spend your life in a place that doesn't recognize you as a citizen, as a contributor to society, so that's my morning thought today. I'm going to go have breakfast and, do some sightseeing today, I do believe. Although my resort is quite luxurious and it has a lot to sightsee right on itself. We've got the boats out there, the beautiful clear waters. Why don't we think we deserve this? I don't know. If you watch this and you're dealing with some type of emotional issues, I have to tell you that you deserve more, especially if you're not content. You deserve it, There's no reason why other people should have a good quality of life and should be living happily and comfortably, and you're not. There's just no reason for that. So I have to cajole you to pursue that. I am adamantly pursuing my happiness. I am adamantly pursuing that. I'm going against the social expectations of what I'm supposed to be, where I'm supposed to go, and what I'm supposed to do. I'm choosing what Gina wants to do, and I'm implementing that. I'm using my resources to do what I feel like doing. You know what I mean? And it's a liberating feeling. It's a liberating feeling. And do you know what the Maasai told me? What I took away from our conversation, we talked for a while. I'm actually going to meet with them again today. What I took away from the Maasai was I said, what do you think about, the modern world or whatever? And he said, I miss the land. I miss Arusha. I miss the animals. I miss my family. And so even with his exposure to coming to the resort, seeing foreigners, seeing how we live and carry ourselves, he missed that freedom, and I put myself in his shoes, no passport, no school, none of these type of, institutional things that is normal for us. He's really, really free. He gets up and goes out on the land and doesn't answer to anybody, and even in that environment, he realizes the beauty and the importance of family. It's I don't know. I spend a lot of time in thought. I'm a thinker, and that was just like, I thought for herself, Gina, you can't run away to Maasai land. Like, you may never survive out there. But I was like, man, that's freedom. Like, that is freedom. Like, when people tell you what to do and you don't want to do it, when they're being funny and like licking shots and being condescending and, you know, all those type of things, and acting like you're inadequate even though you're smarter than them. You know, I thought about all that stuff, and I'm like, they don't even have to put up with that. They don't even know what that's like. You know, they don't even know what that is like. They've been free like their whole life. You know, so anyway, I'm going to wrap up because, you know, I'm rambling and I need to get to the breakfast, get my day started. Guys, please, my final word is come to Africa. Blacks in the West, discontent blacks in the West, blacks that are searching for themselves, blacks that have questions. The motherland has answers. Is it a perfect place? No. Will you get hustled or hassled sometimes? Maybe. If you don't know what to do, if you carry yourself like a fool, if you don't watch, you know, I mean, regardless of where you travel, Africa, India, Asia, Europe, America, if you're not from there, you can get hustled in any country, you know. If you come looking like you don't know what's going on, you know, if you're just not aware of your surroundings, it can happen. You have to realize these people here, sometimes they think we're rich, you know, because of the way our money translates into their local currencies. They think we're rich. So, you know, if you were in their situation and you saw foreigners and you were trying to make money, would you do the same thing? I would. I'd be like, oh, she got it. He got it. Let's buff up the price on this taxi ride. You know, I'm not justifying it, but I'm just saying it's a happening that happens all around the world. So, you know, don't let that be a deterrent to coming and seeing the world. Come and see, you know, this is Africa. This is Africa that you don't see. I'm showing it to you. I've taken my money and my time to come out here because I feel that it's important. And, you know, I have to encourage you others to do the same. You know, look for fulfillment in your life, wherever that means to you. Thank you for staying with me on this video. Thank you for all of your support. Those of you that send me emails and things like that. It means a lot to me, and it's why I continue. I see that there are people actually getting something out of what I'm trying to do. I'm encountering people here in the continent that have never experienced someone like me, and that is just monumental, and that is enough motivation to continue, you know, for me to continue driving at it. I am accepting donations and gifts, monetary, through my PayPal, which is Afrikan Superstar UK@gmail.com. The information will be below in the box. Any gift is appreciated. I mentioned on my last video, I have aspirations of going to 5 other African countries within 2019, and that can